Hey guys, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home. Today's video has been kind of a long time coming, but I've been wanting to do some tests. I've been wanting to see a lot of different features and play with some calibration. And so yes, I'm talking about my projector, the Epson 5050UB 4K Pro Cinema Projector. I've had it now for about a month, I'd say, maybe a little longer than that, maybe 6 weeks. So I've gotten the chance to watch a lot of different types of movies on it, play around with the settings, get it calibrated, get everything set up, and I'm at a point where I'm comfortable enough to do an official review of that today. So that's what I'm going to do. If you're interested in this type of content, I have more coming. There are some exciting things in the works, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. We did just hit that 10,000 mark, which is amazing, but again, we don't stop at 10,000, we don't stop at 100,000. We're trying to take this thing all the way. So please subscribe if you're interested in this stuff. And without further ado, let's jump into the review of the Epson 5050UB. So the first thing I want to talk about is really just like, the size of this thing, the size, the weight, and just the space you need in a room to really make this work. So as you can see, this is a very large projector. Here's my hand, right? I'm a big person. I got a big hand. Here's this projector. This projector is probably, I don't know the exact dimensions, but I mean, I could look them up, but whatever. It's about 18 inches deep. It's probably, 14, 15 inches wide, maybe 15 by 17. It's a big boy projector. It sticks out from the wall pretty far, and so it's going to require a lot of space in your room and a pretty serious mount if you want to put it on the ceiling. So that is something to consider. I didn't really realize how large 15 by 17 really was until I got it in this room. And if I could go back and do it again, this projector is probably a little big for this room. I would probably go with a smaller footprint just to give myself a little more space. I made it work. It sits here between my two home theater chairs and it works great. I have no issues with that. But I did have to buy a stand for it to get it up here, a stand with a big enough base to hold this. And so there were just some things that if I had to do this again, I'd probably think through it a little bit better because it is a fairly large projector. So a couple of the other things that people are often curious about is sort of the heat that comes off of this and the fan noise. So I've played around with the fan noise and it's actually not bad, especially considering it's basically right next to my head. It's kind of what I hear when I'm watching a movie. It's right here. But it's not too bad. I've had it on the highest speed, which is sort of the fan kicks up when you go to more powerful lens features. And then when you go to more of an eco mode, the fan, kind of calms down. I've decided to kind of keep it at the middle. And even on high, the fan noise wasn't bad. In the middle, it's really not noticeable at all. The one thing I will say is it does give off a fair amount of heat. So it's something to think about when you have it in an enclosed space. It is going to give off a lot of heat through one of the vents, and that hasn't caused any issues. I do have the seats right here. They can get a little warm, but as long as there's enough airflow for that to kind of flow behind the seats, which there is, I haven't had a problem. It's just something to consider, if you're going to be placing it on top of anything or next to something. It does give off a lot of heat, so it's something you'd want to be cognizant of, just so nothing gets ruined or you don't have any potential issues with something, something warming up and getting ruined. I don't know what would. Maybe if you put it on a table, it could, or plastic, it could get really warm. Just something to be considerate of, but it's not too bad. But having these leather chairs next to it gets a little hot, so I would ideally keep it in a more open area. I do have some space here. It doesn't look like it, but there is space in between the fan and the chair. There's plenty of airflow, so it's not a big deal, but it's something to think about. The other thing to note is the sort of room size, screen size. So obviously, as you know, my room is pretty small, right? It's not the biggest room in the world, and so I went with a 92-inch projector screen, which is fairly conservative in the world of projectors. A lot of people go 100 inches, 120. 120 is pretty common. Even 150 isn't unheard of. I went with 92 because of the size of my room. 92 feels very big in here, so I have no issues. The problem was this projector, I needed a little bit more room. It doesn't have the amount of zoom capabilities that I thought it might. So I'm actually not completely filling the 92-inch screen sometimes, which is a little bit annoying. You know, I wish it had a little bit better throw distance. You know, I was told by Epson that it would work in the room, and it does. It works on a 92-inch screen, but it probably fills 90 of the 92 inches, maybe 91 inches, but it just doesn't fill the entire screen. So it's something to be cognizant of. Again, is that the zoom is a bit limited, and there are other projectors which I've looked into which have better zoom at shorter distances, where sitting the same distance I am now, I could go to a 100-inch screen and fill it, whereas this projector can't fill a 92-inch screen. Just something to note when you're looking at projectors. I'm a rookie at this. Obviously, I should have looked more into it at the first time going through which projector to choose. I should have asked more questions, but I kind of relied on what Epson told me. They told me it would fill the screen. It almost does. They weren't completely wrong. If I move this back, honestly, if I had maybe 6 more inches of wall back there, it would fill the screen. So it's close, but unfortunately, it doesn't actually fill my entire screen. And so you'd kind of want something that's got a little more zoom to it, or maybe a short throw projector in a room this size. Now, a couple features of the projector. Again, it has this pretty nice remote here. Just click on, that's going to fire right up. You're going to see the lens come out. And typically, this takes, I've seen it take anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds to totally fire up, sometimes a little bit longer if it's been off for a while. But it does have a pretty nice lens on it. I've gotten a really clear picture. The one nice thing it does have, and I can show you how that works here, is the lens shift. So if I go into the lens menu, once this fires up, and now I'm on lens shift, you can see it gives you a blue. I don't have the screen down right now, screen's up, but it gives you a blue kind of calibration screen. I can do a lens shift here, and you'll see the lens actually move from left to right, which is cool. So there's a lot you can do with that. It's pretty neat, and you know, it's a nice feature when you're trying to center something on a screen. You've got a really nice horizontal and vertical shift. I just wish there was a little more zoom. And so if I get in closely here, you can sort of hear the fan. I'll leave this running for a second so you get an idea. Like I said, that's not overly loud, and you know, it's pretty compact. This is the vent fan here. So right now it's venting cool air because I just turned it on, but that will get pretty warm. And then outside of the remote here, there are also some buttons on the side, which you can use to do the same sort of lens adjustments. You know, if you had this on a ceiling or something, you'd have easier access to it. For me, the remote control is really clutch, and it has all my different inputs and everything I need to mess around with the projector, so that's nice. Now, in terms of picture quality, this is where I think there could be some improvements. So, as you know, this is a 4K projector, but it's not a true 4K. What it does is it takes a 1920 by 1080 picture. It takes a standard HD image, and it does what's called pixel shifting. So it basically multiplies the pixels, shifts them, it shifts them very quickly, which creates the illusion of more pixels, which is very close to a 4K image. Now, I haven't had any issues with the resolution. It doesn't look as crisp as some other 4K projectors that are true 4K, but you are in a little bit of a lower price point, so it's hard to knock Epson for it. Although I do think that if they want to advance this series, going with the true 4K projector is where their money is really going to go. Like, if they really want to make some dough, you go and do a true 4K, because that's where it's at, based on comparisons that I've seen in other projectors I've seen online. So the one thing it does do really well, though, is the color. The color, the HDR on this is actually really incredible. It's very, very bright, has a ton of lumens, and even in a light room like this, so I've blacked out some curtains and stuff, but you know, even if I kept the lights on in here right now, it's, you know, maybe 7 o'clock at night, sun hasn't gone down yet, it's a little bit darker, but even if I kept the lights on, I could see a pretty good image. Part of that has to do with my screen, but part of it has to do with the Epson and how well it works in a brighter scenario. So if you have a room that you're going to be using for say a living room or you know, somewhere you're going to be watching sports with friends and you're not going to have the lights off, you know, this might be a good choice for a projector because it's very, very bright, has a good color scheme, and looks great even in lighter environments. Overall, the Epson 5050UB is a pretty good projector for the price point. What I would say, though, is that there are other projectors out there, maybe not the Sonys, maybe not the LGs, high-end stuff, but there are some mid-tier projectors which have, you know, maybe lower specs, but are true 4K that look like they produce a very good image that may beat out this 4K pixel shift. And for the price point, if I was going to buy a projector, I'm not sure I'd go with the pixel shift because that may be outdated technology in just a few years when they're already making true 4K projectors for a reasonable price point. This would run you about $3,000, and it is a beast. I mean, it's a beast of a projector. It projects a great image. It can really fill a screen, and it's great in a light room. Don't get me wrong. The HDR is beautiful. The 4K image has been very, very nice. But I'm interested to compare it to a true 4K projector head-to-head. Hopefully that's something I will be able to do in a future video, so stay tuned for that. That being said, for the price point, it is a pretty good projector. It is optimized for that 4K HDR content, and it can handle all sorts of different color schemes and HLG, which is another type of HDR format that's being pushed. This projector can handle. That's more for broadcast TV, but that's something that might be interesting to you if you watch sports in your projector. You know, as they come out with more advanced cable channels and streaming. And overall, just it's nice. The lens shift is good. The focus and clarity has been really good. I do wish there was some more zoom. I wish there were more capabilities of this to be able to zoom out, zoom in, give you a little more flexibility based on your room size. I am missing that a little bit, and the lack of a true 4K chip in lens kind of gives it a knock, but overall, I'd probably give this one a good, 7 or 8 out of 10 in terms of just overall. It is a bit bulky. That takes some off from the score. So if you don't have a large room, it may be a little overpowering of a footprint to place somewhere in your room, especially if you have it hanging off a ceiling. It may almost look like intrusive. It may just not look good in the room because of how large it is. But if you can hide this up in a ceiling, if you've got a big room, the resolution, especially at longer distances, you're going to not notice as much. Whereas where I'm sitting fairly close to the screen, I think a true 4K projector would give me a better image, but I'll have to test that out. If you are sitting, say, 15, 20 feet away from the screen, the pixel shift will probably be good enough for you. All I'm saying is that there are probably 4K options, true 4K options, in the same price point, but they may not have the same level of color HDR stand. Like, this has a really nice color display on it that other projectors may not have, even though you get the 4K resolution. So it's kind of a decision. Do you want the resolution or do you want the color? In my opinion, I'd take the color most times, but in my particular instance of being close to the screen, I'm really looking forward to getting a true 4K projector to compare and see if that gives me a more clear picture at this shorter distance. But overall, Epson has a very good product here. I don't have a whole lot of complaints. It's a versatile projector. It was easy to set up, super easy, especially as a first timer. I got this thing running in literally no time. Few adjustments. There are great calibration metrics online, so I encourage you to go look at those. People who are much smarter than me have calibrated this thing, and when I did the calibrations and then adjusted them for my personal preferences, they give you a good starting point, and then you can adjust them from there. But the image quality and the color scheme and everything got much, much improved by doing a little calibration. So I encourage you to do that. But overall, it's a nice projector. I think there's definitely a market for it. It's sort of that lower mid-tier type of projector. But Epson has great support, great customer service. Everything I've run into with questions has been really good. So that's also a plus for them. But yeah, overall, this is the Epson 5050UB Home Cinema. As I said, 4K Pro UHD technology, HDR, all the works. And yeah, that's about what I have to say about this guy. It's been really fun to play with. It's been really fun to get to know projectors through the Epson, and I appreciate them giving me the opportunity for sure. So yeah, guys, that's about it for this one. Hope you enjoyed this review. There are more home theater reviews coming. I have some more components coming, hopefully. Maybe some more projectors. audio equipment, lots of cool stuff hopefully coming my way, which ties right into this channel. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about the Epson 5050, if you've used it, what your thoughts are, how your 4K projector may compare, your thoughts on your own different brands you may use. I'm always curious on what to try out. But like I said, pretty solid projector. Huge thanks to Epson for them giving me the opportunity, letting me play around with the projector before anybody else did. Huge props to them for that. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you keep watching this. Hope you like this type of content. I am trying to mix it up with Blu-ray, movie, collecting videos, 4K stuff, but I'm also a home theater geek. I'm a home theater nerd, and now I've got the audience. So finally, people are starting to pay attention to me. I'm getting some companies reaching out to test things, and I'm really excited about that. So that's a really cool direction this channel's heading in. But Blu-rays aren't going anywhere. Lots of that stuff coming as well. Again, if you do like this sort of stuff, if you want to hear more about collecting Blu-rays, 4K reviews, home theater reviews, whatever you like, remember to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Instagram, donate to my channel down below with the PayPal link, and click on any of the Amazon links down below. Those are all affiliate links, which give me a small kickback if you do happen to buy something like these shelves. Then you give me a kickback of a couple bucks and you get the shelf. Nothing really changes. It's the same price on Amazon. You're paying the same, but you're buying it through my links. You're supporting the channel. So again, thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you soon.